Today I'm going to show you how to pick up stitches for the double brimmed hat. So you can see this as a classic cap with a double folded brim. On the inside here you can see there's stockinette, reverse stockinette. Very comfortable, very warm because of that double layer. So here I have started the hat, and I began with a provisional cast on. I use the crochet method for my provisional cast on, and when I started my crochet chain I put a little knot on the end of it. So then when I started knitting, I did not start at the knot end. I started on the non-knotted end, which is important because that will make this a little bit easier to pick up. So what we're going to do is bring this up to the inside. And I like to work this way just simply because I think that it's easier to work in the clockwise direction, personally. So the next thing that we will do is I have another needle set. I just went down one size, so I'm using size 5s is what I'm knitting my work on. These are size 4s, which I'm just using them basically to hold my stitches. So what we're going to do is you can either cut or unpick this crochet and cast on. Probably gonna cut it. It'll just be a little bit easier. And what you'll see is this will start to unravel. And then I'm going to use my spare needle and just start picking up these stitches. This first one is a little weird because this goes straight through that stitch. So you may notice that you'll have to pull that through. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm mounting these correctly. I'm just going to go through and pick up these stitches. And as you go along, you'll find that they will just unpick. I'm going to come in a little bit closer so you can see what's happening here. And you may find that it's easier for you to switch this work around and move from the other side to look at your knit stitches, and that's okay. You might keep a pair of scissors handy just to cut that scrap yarn loose. Make sure that you don't catch your actual working yarn as you do this. You can just go through and you're just going to pick up those stitches. Once you get a few loaded, or you can load all of them, then what you'll notice you can do is just unzip these stitches. I'm working with a little bit of mohair, so the mohair does get a little bit sticky, so you will notice that that starts to bind, and if that's the case, you can just use your scissors to just snip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pick up all of these stitches, and then I'll check back with you on the next step. Okay, so now all of the stitches have been picked up. The scrap yarn has been removed, and I have put the bottom of the hat, which is like the cast on end of the hat, to the inside. I have my working yarn on the outside here. And what we're going to do is just knit the inside and the outside of the brim together. So I line up my needles like this. I have my beginning of round stitch marker, locate my working yarn, which is here. I'm just going to ignore this needle, it's just going to hang there. And what I'm going to do is knit the front stitch and this back stitch on the inner needle together. So I'm just knitting those two together. And then off. So knitting into the front stitch, going and knitting into the back stitch, and then sliding those off. So I'm essentially just knitting those two together. So what that's doing is it's just aligning those stitches perfectly and joining them here, and then you'll continue all the way around until all of those stitches are consumed and you're back at the beginning of the round, and then you'll just continue knitting until it's time to decrease.